Hi, this is the Chapter 10 mini lecture which looks at business ethics, environmental sustainability, and corporate social responsibility. Here are the learning objectives for this chapter. You can pause here to read them. We've gone through the whole process of the strategic management model, and now we're really looking at how ethics, sustainability, and social responsibility have an impact on strategy. So business ethics really looks at how we as a business um, determine what is, or how we are as a business or an organization determines what is right and wrong. So we have laws which tell us what we can and cannot do, and then ethical standards which differ between every person and every organization help to guide the decisions and the behavior within an organization. So social responsibility is really the actions an organization takes beyond what is legally required of them in order to protect or enhance the well-being of living things or others. And then sustainability is kind of the same thing. It's our operations, our actions that help us to protect, repair, or preserve rather than harm or destroy our natural environment or natural resources. All right, so let's look at ethics. So as an organization, it's important to have an ethical foundation. So as an organization, this is what we believe in. And so a lot of companies have a code of business ethics. And this code of business ethics helps to tell people within the organization, as well as other stakeholders, what that ethical and moral compass of that organization is. And so it's really important that this code of ethics is actually read and understood and believed and remembered by by the people within the organization. It's also important to have ethics workshops to help to sensitize people to workplace circumstances where ethical issues may arise. I can tell you that when I've talked to employers, they say one of the biggest things that new graduates they want to see out of new graduates is ethical behavior because it's definitely become an issue, and we've seen it with all the white collar crime that we see in the news. So some of the important topics within business ethics are whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is usually looked at as a negative thing, but it is actually not. It is really just referring to people who report unethical violations, that they see there's ways that companies can encourage whistleblowing through anonymous reporting, tip lines, etc. So whistleblowing has kind of gotten, I think, a little bit of a negative connotation in the past, but it's actually an important thing within organizations. Bribery is an issue. Um, there are obviously, bribery is very frowned upon in the United States, but we'll learn when we talk about international management that sometimes bribery is a common norm within other countries. So bribery is offering, giving, and receiving or soliciting any item of value to influence the actions of an official or other person um, that in discharge of a public or legal duty. It usually is a crime in a lot of countries around the world, especially the United States. The United States has the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which says that bribery is illegal. It can become a real fuzzy area for companies, though, that do business internationally, especially in countries where bribery is common and expected and not frowned upon. Another issue is workplace romance. I'm sure you've seen this. Workplace romances can be detrimental to morale and productivity. Um, it is especially an issue when one of the persons in the relationship or in the workplace romance has authority over the other person or a higher or a superior position. So that's where it really can become an issue. Environmental sustainability is really looking at protecting our natural environment. And we're seeing this as almost becoming expected of companies and organizations. So people today are especially appreciative of organizations that conduct operations in a way that helps to protect, conserve, or even repair the environment. I'm sure that you've seen the Dawn dish soap campaign, where they say that so much of every bottle goes to clean up animals in the ocean that have been impacted by oil spills. And so this is a big issue in the world. And obviously, different consumers see it differently. Um, but we are seeing a lot more. Think of like Patagonia, which is a very popular brand, who has a mission of actually reducing their carbon footprint. So to not negatively impact the environment with the production of their products. Those are just some examples. Companies will do a sustainability report, which reveals how a firm's operations impact the environment, and it discloses to shareholders information about their labor practices. I'm sure you've all heard about Nike and sweatshops. I feel like it was like in the 90s. Where products are sourced from, how energy efficient they are. I don't know if you've ever been in a Kohl's department store in the United States, and you'll hear this Kohl's store uses X amount less electricity than other department stores because they're trying to be green. Um, it looks at the environmental impact and their business ethics practices. So here's just a little screenshot or a little image of a sustainability, probably infographic of a sustainability report of a company um, that you can look at. So you may pause it here to look at it. I can also post it on Canvas if you'd like. All right, so we've heard of the ISO standards. There is a specific ISO certification, the 14000 and 14001, which really looks at minimizing harmful effects on the environment. So the ISO 14000 family looks at the extent to which a firm minimizes harmful effects on the environment that are caused by its activities, and it continually monitors and improves its own environmental performance. ISO 14001 is um, also adopted by many firms worldwide to certify that their constituencies that they are conducting business to certify to their constituencies or to their stakeholders that they are conducting business in an environmentally friendly manner. And this can result in an environmental management system to monitor this progress. Corporate social responsibility um, really looks at integrating social and environmental concerns in business operations and in interactions with stakeholders. So research reveals that there's actually like a U shape. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but like it looks like a U between corporate social responsibility and then financial performance. So the firms with the greatest corporate social responsibility are also the firms with the highest financial performance. Conversely, though, firms with a low CSR also tend to have higher performance. It's when you get into that moderate, like, I'm kind of socially responsible, but I'm kind of not, where you're not going to see the impact on your financials. So basically, what we're saying here is that firms that aren't corporate, aren't socially responsible, that are really looking at the bottom line, have high financial performance, and firms that really look at social responsibility very diligently and communicate that with their constituents have a high performance. But it's the middle where you're not going to see that benefit. But it's also important to know that no social need can be met if a firm fails. So there still has to be some emphasis on profitability. All right, and so the last thing we're just going to look at, and you can obviously freeze this, but this is the 10 companies with the best CSR reputation rated by consumers. So that's just a real brief overview of business ethics, environmental sustainability, and social responsibility.